Go to Genesis 1 and 31. Then God saw everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good. Now put it in the King James version. Now, King James says it was very good. It was what? Very good. I want you to focus in on that word good. Do one more thing for me. Put it in the Amplified. Let's blow it up now. I want you to see this. I got to get you into divine steps. Now, and God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very what? Good and suitable and pleasant. And he did what? He approved it what? Completely. So what God says, what I said is good, I've already approved it. Are you getting this? I've already done what? Approved it. So if I can find out what's good, that means not only must I see it, I must see it as God sees it. And God sees it as approved completely, which means that you can't come against what God has already approved. Even though it don't look like it, it's already a what? Look at this. He saw everything that he had made. Now, where was he? He was in Genesis, right? Now, has Revelation or Galatians or Mark, Luke, and John showed up yet? Not yet. But God saw everything because he's the beginning and the. So God just don't stand in Genesis and talk about Genesis. God talks about Genesis as if it's already a revelation that comes right back around to Genesis, because God is the beginning and the. So if he's the beginning and the end, that means that whatever God sees in the beginning has already been ended because it's already in him. God, in you, in him I live. Come on, somebody. And do what? And move and have my what? So everything starts with God and comes back to God. So God can make a statement because ain't nothing in him bad. So what God is saying, I made it. Now, if God made it, that means it must look like and act like and be like God. I'm going somewhere. Look at them and say, neighbor, God made it and it's already approved. When was the last time you took a good look at yourself? I didn't say just a look. What kind of a look? A good. Most of us are just looking, but we're not taking a. Help somebody today. So what's happening is you are looking at you, but not looking at you good. Put your hand and say, I am the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. I want to help somebody. See, what's happening is you are looking at you in a unfinished state, but you're not looking at you as good. That's why I say take a good look. I want the next time you look in the mirror, I want you to take a good look. I don't care how you messed up yesterday. I don't care how you messed up last year. I don't even care how you messed up this morning. You got to look at yourself and say, I am the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. I'm just a work in progress. Oh, Lord. We're just in a place of divine steps. And the way God gets you to be good is that he puts you in a process. Most of us are looking at the process and don't like what you see. You don't like how it feels. But God says at the end of a thing, you got to understand, if I saw everything that I had made and it was already approved, why are you looking at yourself and disapproving what God has already approved, even though it don't look like it proven nothing yet? See, why are you trying to prove to people who you are when God says, I've already not just approved you, I approve you completely? And so what happens is, okay, is that we're looking at a motion. We're looking at a place that we're in. But the place that we're in is not the end. A place is just a journey. Most of us, Trina, will look at ourselves and can't really fathom, can't really look at what God is doing because we're too busy complaining about the hurt and the dismay and the problem we're having, while God is saying, if I can get you to see you don't have issues, you got ingredients. I said something. Somebody said, I don't have issues. I have ingredients. What do you mean by that? God has got to use something called ingredients to make you good. So sometimes issues are in the ingredients. Oh, y'all. You're calling it issues. I want to change your vocabulary. And if you got something going on in your life, put your hand on yourself and say, self, I don't have issues. I have ingredients. Lord have mercy. In other words, when God begin to take that issue and that problem and that thing and begin to put it together, it's going to work out for your. So I don't care how you don't like it. You got to say, God is doing something in me. He's already approved me. He's already given me a sanction. So he got to order because where I'm going, I can't get there unless my steps are. Because if I understand, most of us, and understand me, if I could change my steps, I would avoid every problem that I could in my life. Do I have anybody in here who really want to get out of where you are? But God said I got to have ingredients to cause something to happen in your life so you can become who I made you to be. Come here, Daniel. Daniel had a problem. He had an issue. The problem that he had was he was getting himself together to come against people who thought that he should eat what they ate. So he had an issue. What the issue was? The issue was people who were trying to tell him how to live, because Daniel had a place in God where he did not want to listen to man, but listen to God. Anytime you begin to listen to God and not man, man ain't gonna give you issues. Oh, y'all don't hear me? And watch this now. And what happened is they begin to come against Daniel. But Daniel said, give me 3 weeks. Give me what? 3 weeks. Watch the process now. I'm all off my noise. I'm not on my notes. But some of my steps are ordered. See, sometimes we put steps as steps physically. Steps can be mental. Don't miss this now. So God methodically took Daniel through steps in his mind. Let me help you with something. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Remember those 3 names? Ever heard the name Belteshazzar? Whose name was Belteshazzar? Daniel. It was a Babylonian name. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego took on Babylonian name. But Daniel said, I refuse to take a name that didn't come from God. Now, look at this. Look at this now. So Daniel now says, watch my steps. What do you mean, Daniel? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego took on those names. He said, watch me now. I'm going to remain who I am. But I'm going to teach y'all how to make the us come out of you. They don't really see the us yet, but a process is going to make them see us. What are you talking about? So now, that was a decree given out that everybody going to bow down to this one. Somebody said, when God get ready to order my steps, a problem will always come up. So the problem is now that these three men have been told to bow. Look at this now. People will set up traps because it wasn't the king that noticed it. It was the people who wanted to trap them because they didn't like what they were doing. There are some people who really don't like what you're doing, and folk don't know what you're doing, but because they don't like it, they begin to carry your business. Some of y'all are being looked at not because you told it, it's because people tweeted it, people emailed it, people texted it, while you didn't really know, nobody knew. But God is setting you up, because when God gets ready to elevate you, he will always start with an issue.